You know that feeling when you've checked off all the boxes and you're still feeling like something's off? You've built something successful, you're making money, people respect what you do, but there's this quiet voice that keeps asking, is this it? Is this all there is? Maybe you're stuck at the same revenue ceiling no matter how hard you try. Maybe you've scaled, but now you're exhausted, frustrated, disconnected from why you even started this in the first place. Or maybe, and this is the one that breaks my heart, you're silently suffering, just counting down the days to your next vacation or that golden retirement milestone when you can finally be free to do what you really love. If any of that sounds familiar, here's what's actually happening. It's not you, it's the foundation. And I don't mean your business model or your marketing strategy. I mean the deeper principles that you're building on, the assumptions about success, the beliefs about what's required to win, the rules you inherited about how business should work. See, most professionals and leaders build their business on what I call a borrowed blueprint. Strategies that work for someone else, advice from mentors who built in a different era, industry standards that prioritize profits over purpose. And for a while, it works. You grow, you scale, things look good on the outside. But then the pressure increases, and suddenly the whole thing starts to implode. And you're just standing there like, wait, what just happened? And I learned this the hard way. After 15 years on Wall Street and 13 years building Ascension Academy, I've seen the same pattern over and over again. Brilliant people, talented, smart, dedicated, building on borrowed blueprints instead of their own core principles. And it's not that your dreams are too big, and it's not that you are not working hard enough. You can't fix a foundation problem with a strategy tweak. You can't positive think your way out of structural instability. You need a different model entirely. Not the follow your passion and the money will magically appear model. That's just expensive chaos. And not the soulless optimize everything and ignore how you feel model. That's just a grind that burns you out. You need what I call a conscious business model, where your deepest values become your strategic advantage, where intuition and intelligence work together, not against each other, so that you can scale without sacrifice and grow without burning out. Because here's what I know to be true. A business built on soul without strategy, that's just a beautiful wish that never pays the bills. And a business built on strategy without soul, that's just a machine that eventually breaks you. You need both. And that's what we're building today. I'm going to show you the 4 pillars every successful conscious business model is built on. The ones that let you make money and stay aligned so that you can scale without sacrifice and grow without burning out. And here's the best part. You probably already have 2 or 3 of these pillars. You just need to figure out which one is missing because that's exactly where your breakthrough is hiding. So let's stop building on borrowed blueprints. Let's build something that actually reflects who you are and what you value. Let's get to it and build your legacy. So here's the first pillar, values. And before you think, I already know my values, let me ask you something. Can you rattle off your values? Sure. But are you actually driving your decisions and invoking something deep within you? Or are they just inspirational words on your website? Because here's what I see all the time. Leaders can recite their mission statement perfectly. They've got the words on their website, in their deck, maybe even on the wall in their office. But embodied leadership, that's when the words do more than sound good. They awaken something deep within you. They become your foundation for every decision, not just a poster on the wall. Your real values aren't the ones you say at the leadership retreat. Your real values show up in three places: when nobody's watching, when the pressure is on, and when push comes to shove. So if you're feeling drained, disconnected, or just off, there's usually a value violation happening somewhere. Do you want to know where? Ask yourself this. Where are you allowing something in your business that's out of integrity with your values? Every time you feel compromised after agreeing to something, that's your soul showing you this doesn't align. Here's what it looks like in real life. I had a client, successful, multi six figure coach. On paper, she had everything: the revenue, the clients, the recognition. But when she came to see me, she was silently suffering, depressed, disconnected. She wasn't even sure when things started to go sideways. She just knew she couldn't even remember what brought her joy anymore. We did the value work, and here's what we uncovered. She was sprinting towards the retirement finish line, chasing a specific dollar amount so she could finally create a good life. But here's the trap she'd fallen into. She was putting a condition on her joy. Once I reach this milestone, then I'll be able to focus on enjoying life. Her core values, joy, presence, connection, fulfillment, all were completely violated by her own business strategy and how it was designed. And here's the beautiful part. We didn't blow up her business. She's still doing the same type of work, but how she shows up to her goals completely transformed. It was about including how she felt as an important metric while she was achieving her financial goal. Here's why this simple shift matters. A journey of misery will never deliver a destination of joy. Happiness became the goal, not the reward at the end. And you know what happened? Her business thrived. The financial outcomes came naturally because she was showing up inspired, more magnetic to her clients, attracting better opportunities. She stopped putting conditions on her joy, and her business took off because of it. I know what you're thinking, but Anik, I can't change these things. I have bills to pay. I have a team counting on me. Yes, listen, I get it. But here's what I've learned. Every compromise costs you more than you think. It's not just energy, it's opportunity cost. Every hour you spend on work that is out of integrity, it's an hour you're not spending on work that could transform you and your business. So let's find out where the leak is. And I want you to actually do this right now. It's going to take less than 5 minutes. And yes, now, not later, not when you have time, because you and I both know that's a pipe dream. So grab a pen and a paper. But if you're driving or at the gym, I'll drop this exercise in the show notes so that you can screenshot it. But the second you can, do it. Strike while the iron's hot. So step one, write down your top 5 values. The real ones, not the aspirational ones. Not what sounds good in a mission statement, what actually matters to you when you're making the hard decisions. Step 2, for each value, rate your current business on a scale of 1 to 10. How aligned are you actually living this value? Step 3, look at your lowest score. That's your leak. That's where your energy is draining. Step 4, ask yourself, what's one structure I could put into place this week to honor this value? Don't just think about this, write it down, because when you write something out on paper, seeing the pattern becomes inevitable. And once you see something, you can't unknow it. So here's your red flag for the values pillar. You're exhausted after a successful day. Success shouldn't deplete you. And your green flag is that you'll have more energy after doing your work than before. That's alignment. If values is your missing pillar, you'll know it because you're secretly relieved when clients canceled. That's your soul begging you to realign. So that's your first pillar, values, your foundation. But here's what happens next. You get clear in your values, you start making aligned decisions, and then you hit a wall. Because knowing what you value is one thing, trusting yourself to act on it, that's where most people get stuck. Which brings us to pillar number 2, intuitive discernment. And not just intuition, discernment. Because here's what most people miss. Everyone has intuition, but not everyone knows how to tell the difference between true intuitive guidance and old fear patterns. That's discernment. And I learned this watching the best professionals on Wall Street, not at a meditation retreat. I worked with a lot of portfolio managers over the years, and one thing always stood out. The best ones didn't just read financial statements, they could read between the lines. And I remember this one portfolio manager who stayed clear of mortgage-backed securities. And listen, this was the gold rush. Everyone was jumping on the bandwagon. The financial statements were very attractive. Every index and fund was tied into them. But something felt off to him. He couldn't always put his finger on it, but he trusted it anyway. And then the MBS scandal hit. The too big to fail bailouts came. Other portfolio managers, they took hits to the tune of 30% to their portfolios if they were lucky. But his clients protected because he trusted his gut over the data everyone else was following. So what was at stake? His reputation, client wealth, years of trust building. And looking back now, I realize what sets certain professionals apart. The best in any field aren't just technically skilled. They've developed their intuitive discernment to the point where it's become a strategic advantage. So here's the question everyone asks. Okay, Anik, how do I actually access my intuitive discernment? Here's the thing. Intuitive discernment is something you develop with practice. You can use any number of tools, muscle testing, journaling, theta healing, inner work, shadow work, breath work, all valid entry points. But here's the real key, self-awareness. Being self-aware enough to recognize your patterns of self-sabotage and being able to tell the difference between the data your intuition is bringing in and the data your survival instincts and your past traumas are feeding you. But here's what most people don't realize. Most people think they can't trust their intuition because at some point, their intuition and their instincts gave them opposing data. They got their wires crossed, and then they were left thinking intuition wasn't reliable. Let me give you an example using muscle testing. When you're properly calibrated, here's what you're feeling for. A strong yes means your body is strong yet supple, grounded but open. A clear no means your body goes weak and constricted. You lose that groundedness. So let's say you're considering a new opportunity, a new job, a new client, a new level of visibility. You make a statement. Saying yes to this is the best choice. And your body responds with that strong yet supple quality, grounded, open. You might think, great, my intuition is confirming this is the right move. But here's what could actually be happening. Muscle testing will show you what your subconscious beliefs are, not necessarily your higher wisdom. Now, you can calibrate for that. It just takes a touch more training. Your subconscious, your survival instinct is thinking, good, we can stay in our comfort zone. We don't need to take the risk of going into the unknown, the uncertain, the undefined. These places is where we have no preset patterns. Now, here's an important caveat. When your subconscious beliefs and your higher mind, your intuition are in sync, your body will respond with that strong yet supple yes when a true opportunity arises. That's your ideal state. But when you're still working through some old patterns, fears, and limiting beliefs, Your body might be responding to the safety of the known, not the wisdom of what's aligned. And sure, you'll feel safer, but you'll also miss out on the infinite, unlimited potential that lives on the other side of that discomfort. So here's the discernment piece. Yes, your body will relax when you choose to stay in your comfort zone, and it might contract when you reach beyond it. But the fact is, everything that you want that you don't already have lives outside of your comfort zone. So the question isn't, what does my body say? The question becomes, is my body responding from fear or from wisdom? And that's the distinction. That's the discernment. Here's how I approach it. It's either a heck yes or a heck no. Kinda doesn't cut it when it comes to making decisions. And pay attention not just to the body's response, but to the quality of the response. Is it relief or is it resonance? Relief says, thank God I can avoid discomfort. Resonance says, yes, this is the way. Now, if you want to go deeper on this, and I really recommend that you do because this is foundational, I've created a free muscle testing guide that walks you through exactly how to structure your statements, how to develop the skill, and how to tell the difference between fear and wisdom. You can grab that at Ascension Academy. It's completely free. I'll drop the link in the show notes. Because here's what I know. Intuitive discernment is one of the most powerful skills you'll ever develop for your decision-making acumen. But you can't learn it from a 3-minute podcast segment. This is a practice. And if you're serious about using a conscious business model, this skill will become your most competitive advantage. So your red flag for pillar number 2, intuitive discernment, you're asking everyone else what you should do except yourself. And your green flag, you notice the difference between relief and resonance, between your fear talking and your wisdom guiding. If intuitive discernment is your missing pillar, you'll know because you keep ignoring the signals that your body is sending you. And then 6 months down the line, you're like, I knew I shouldn't have done that. So that's pillar number 2, intuitive discernment, the compass. Here's what I see happens next. You get clear on your values, you start using your intuition, you're making aligned decision, and then you're exhausted because you're still doing too much. This is where most professionals and leaders lose themselves because you have this incredible vision. You're a leader. You're deeply committed to your mission and your people. Your mission is so important to you. You want to believe that your capacity is unlimited. That if you just manage your time better, optimize your system smarter, push a little harder, you'll finally be able to do it all. But here's the hard truth nobody wants to hear, myself included. Your energy is not infinite. And pretending it is doesn't make you dedicated, it makes you depleted. So let me ask you something. What's currently on your plate that you're doing out of obligation instead of alignment? Because here's what I see. Professionals and leaders saying yes to things that sound aligned but feel draining. You do the networking event because that's how you build business relationships. You show up on every platform because you need to be visible. You keep that difficult client because they've been with you from the beginning. And all of it, it's leaking your energy. Death by 1,000 cuts. Okay, story time. Let me tell you about something I had to let go of that actually looked really successful on the outside. I was offering one-off hourly sessions, and honestly, on paper, it was working. My calendar was booked months out, consistent revenue, people love the work. But here's what happened beneath the surface. I was maxed out. and not just time-wise, energetically. See, inner work is powerful and transformative, but let's be reasonable. There are limits to what you can shift in 60 minutes. Most of my clients were booking consistently, monthly or regular sessions, and they were getting incredible results. But here's the problem: I couldn't support them between slots. When life happened between sessions and they hit a stall point, they'd stay stuck until their next appointment. And then I had a handful of clients who would only reach out when they were in crisis mode. We'd do the work, they'd feel better, and then poof, they disappear. That is until the next crisis. And here's what I started to realize. By being available for those emergency sessions, I was actually doing them a disservice. I was being a band-aid, offering relief instead of resolution. And when you just patch things up like that, you end up extending the suffering because you're not dealing with the root issue, you're just managing symptoms. And I had to ask myself, am I showing up in integrity with my values? Am I truly being of service if I'm fulfilling their need for temporary relief instead of holding them accountable to their bigger transformation? The answer was no. And that realization changed everything. So I made the decision. I stopped offering one-off sessions, restructured everything around programs and deeper containers where I could support the kind of transformation that actually lasts, not just immediate relief that fades when the next challenge hits. My calendar cleared, and yes, I panicked for a couple of weeks, and I got pushback, and not just from my clients, surprisingly from my peers. From my perspective, I was walking my talk. From theirs, I was denying people the opportunity to heal. But this shift was about me caring more about what I knew was right than what other people thought, even when it ruffled feathers. And you know what happened next? My revenue didn't drop. It stabilized and then it grew. My clients got exponentially better results because I finally had the capacity to support them in a way that I knew they actually needed. And I had the time freedom to actually work on my business instead of just being in it. But most importantly, I stopped borrowing time and energy from my daughter's childhood, from my personal relationships, and from my own self-care. That's energetic alignment. And here's what nobody tells you. Sometimes it means saying no to what's working so that you can make room for something better. Because, and this one is actually one of the hardest lessons I've learned in business and in life. Letting go of something that's bad is easy. It's obvious. But letting go of something that's okay, something that's manageable, something that's like good enough, that's where the real growth lives. Because you're not making space for slightly better, you're making space for what's truly extraordinary. So, how do you actually do this? How do you figure out what to let go of? Here's a very simple way to find out what's draining you. Think about your typical week. What is the most draining part of your day, your week, your month? And not the challenging stuff. Challenging can be energizing. I'm talking about the thing that makes you think, oh, I've got to do this again. Yeah, that thing, the one that just popped into your head. Now ask yourself, does this actually need to be on my plate? Because you got three options. Option one, drop it. Just stop doing it. What would actually break if you didn't do this anymore? Probably less than you think. Or option two, delegate it. Who is energized by what's draining you? Just because you hate it doesn't mean someone else doesn't thrive here. Hand it off. Or option three, Change how you show up to it. Different tools, different mindset, different structure. Pick one thing and commit to make the change this week. So here's your red flag for energetic alignment. You're successful but exhausted. You're hitting goals, but you're losing yourself. That's how you know. And your green flag for energetic alignment is your business feels like self-care. Work energizes you instead of deplete you. If energetic alignment is your missing pillar, you're already thinking about which thing on your plate you need to release. So that's pillar number 3, energetic alignment, the fuel. But here's what I see happen next. You get clear on your values, you start trusting your intuition, you've aligned your energy with what actually serves you. And then you hit a different kind of wall because here's the thing, knowing what to do and actually doing it, those are two very different things. So that brings us to our final pillar, strategic execution. And yes, I saved this one for last because it's where the soul-led professionals start to squirm. Strategy. But Nick, I thought we were being aligned and intuitive. All right, listen. Strategy is not the opposite of soul. Strategy is how soul shows up in the real world. You can have crystal clear values, razor sharp intuition, and perfect energetic alignment and still not making any money. Because at some point, you have to actually build something. So let me ask you, if you stepped away for 6 months, would your organization continue to thrive? Would your business be able to run without you? And if the answer is no, you're the linchpin. You're not the leader. You're the bottleneck, not the architect. Strategic execution means this. You have an offer people actually want to buy, not just a hobby that pays for itself. You have a way for people to find you, and marketing shouldn't ever make you feel gross. Can someone else deliver on this? If you're the driving force, what's your expansion or succession plan? And you have systems that allow you to scale without requiring more of your time. Here's what this looks like in real life. I had a client who was 100% convinced she needed to go back to grad school, a full 4-year degree to improve her life situation. That was her strategic plan, more credentials. Then maybe she'd be qualified for better opportunities. But here's what we uncovered in the inner work. She'd already disqualified herself from opportunities she was obviously capable of handling. The "I need more degrees" story, that was just her pattern of self-doubt wearing a strategic mask. We did only 3 months of inner work together, not on her resume, on her belief systems. And within 6 months, her income increased by $20,000. And within 2 years, she had more than doubled her income. Here's what actually happened. She trusted herself enough to apply for a job she'd already decided she wasn't qualified for. She got it with flying colors, and then she sped through the ranks because she finally believed in her own capacities. No grad school needed, just inner work that created the clarity to execute strategically. See, that's the thing about strategic execution. It's not separate from the other 3 pillars. It's the result of them. When your values are clear, you know what offers to create and which opportunities to say yes to. When your intuition is sharp, you make decisions quickly and confidently. When your energy is aligned, you have the capacity to actually execute. And that's when strategy stops feeling like force and starts feeling like flow. But here's what most people don't realize about strategic execution. If strategic execution is your missing pillar, you'll know because you have beautiful ideas and you struggle to follow through. And this isn't a discipline problem. This isn't a time management problem. This is where your invisible patterns create your visible ceilings. Because execution, that's where you actually breach the boundary of your comfort zone. That's where all the skeletons come out of the closet, and your subconscious will pull every trick in the book to keep you from taking that step. It will exhaust you so that you can't move, fog your mind so that you can't see clearly. It'll keep you distracted, constantly putting out those fires. Have you chasing the clock, praying for that one day when you'll finally have time to take action. That's why that beautifully polished action plan never makes it past your desk, or why you can only implement parts of it. The Achilles heel of your subconscious, it's action. Because when you take action, you prove the old story wrong. And your subconscious is invested in keeping that story alive. And this is where leaning into inner work creates tangible results. Because once you see the pattern, you can move through it instead of being stopped by it. So here's your red flag for strategic execution. You're just going with the flow, but secretly panicking about money. And your green flag is you have predictable revenue and repeatable systems. You know where your next client is coming from, and you have the framework to expand. So that's your fourth pillar, strategic execution, the vehicle. And here's what you need to understand. These four pillars, they're not separate. They're not linear. They support each other. Values are your foundation. Intuitive discernment is your compass. Energetic alignment is your fuel. And strategic execution is the vehicle. And most people have two or three of them, but that one missing pillar, that's your ceiling. So right now, which one are you missing? Is it values? Are you saying yes to things that drain you? Is it intuition? Overthinking every decision? Is it energy? You're successful but completely exhausted? Or is it strategy? You have beautiful ideas but inconsistent follow through. Here's the thing. You can't Google your unique pillars, and you can't positive affirmation your way through inner work. Sometimes you need someone who can see the patterns that you can't see to help bridge that gap. And that's exactly what we're doing at the free VIP Masterclass on November 4th, and you're invited. We are going to dive deep into your specific patterns, and I'm going to help you identify exactly which pillar is missing, which is your invisible ceiling. I'm going to help you understand why it's been blocking you. So those are your subconscious patterns. And you're going to get one clear action step to start building that pillar this week. So the good news is it's free, it's live, and spots are limited because we are doing real-time pattern work. So I invite you, register now. I'd love to share this with you. The link is in the show notes. And if you're ready to go even deeper to build out all four pillars specifically for your business, check out the You and Your Soul Business program. You can explore that. I'll link it below. Before you go, here's what I want you to do. Grab a notebook. Write down these four questions. Where am I saying yes when I mean no? What decision am I overthinking right now? What's draining my energy that I keep doing anyway? And if I stepped away for 6 months, would my business thrive? Whichever question makes you the most uncomfortable, that's your missing pillar. That's where your breakthrough lives. Take a screenshot of your answer and tag me on LinkedIn or Instagram at Anik Manafant. I read every single one, and I'd love to know what comes up for you. Because here's the thing. You don't need to fix all your four pillars at once. You just need to identify the one that's creating the most havoc, start where you are, and grow from there. You didn't come this far to keep building on borrowed blueprints. And you didn't do all this work just to stay stuck at the same income level. The breakthrough that you're looking for isn't about working harder. It's about building smarter on a foundation that actually holds. Let's stop building on borrowed blueprints. Let's build something that's actually yours. And until next time, trust your intuition, take aligned action, and keep leading with soul.